Hello everyone and welcome to an ESO build video. So, this is going to be my last one for the patch, I think, guys. Honestly, I haven't been playing enough of the game to make more builds than this one. But if I was going to put out one build video for this patch, or I was going to recommend one build to play for this patch, I gotta say it's this one. I absolutely have been loving Stamina Sorcerer again. I am so glad I picked this thing back up. But, anyways, one thing I just want to make clear before we get started, this is a non-CP build. I made this build as a joke with stream one night, and it turned out perfect. It actually just works so well. I'm so happy with it. So yeah, it's not going to be detailing a CP section. You can follow any other stamina CP build pretty much if you want to follow a stamina build. But the reason this build will not have a CP section detailed is because it's technically hybrid. While it is 99% Stamina Sorcerer, and that's why I'm labeling it as such, it has a little bit of a hybrid element to it. And because of that, it doesn't scale so well on the CP. The running two different sources of damage is pretty bad in champion points, if in my opinion. So I haven't really worked out a CP or a way to maximize the champion points. So just wanted to get that out of the way before we get started. But we are going to get looking at, first off, let's go to the stat sheet. You guys, I don't normally like to start here, but normally this is CP recovery, but normally this is about 1100 in non-CP. This will sit at about 1100, just letting you guys know. Besides that, decent stats all around, not too bad. The biggest thing you can look at, we're squishy. Okay, we're squishy. It's not a surprise there, but look at our unbuffed spell damage and our unbuffed weapon damage. Look at those numbers, man. Oh, nearly 3,000 spell damage and a little over 4,000 weapon damage, completely unbuffed. It's beautiful. I don't know how these penetration values are calculated. They don't make any sense to me because I do not have more physical pen than I do spell pen, and in fact, my spell pen's higher than this, I think. Anyway, oh, CP. You know what? This is my spell pen. Champion points are what's buffing this. Gotcha. Never mind. Before we move to the rest of the build, we are a werewolf. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be a werewolf. I don't actually use it for this build. It's just there's no reason not to be a werewolf, so that's the reason why I have it. The Munda Stone we are using is the Lover Stone because we are using a magic damage ability. We need more spell pen, and this is the most efficient way to get it. And for food, we are using Bewitched Sugar Skulls. These things are awesome, okay? These are awesome. They're fairly cheap, luckily. They're not expensive like other gold foods. But they're basically tri-stat food on steroids. And to add the extra health recovery on top of that, it's beautiful. So, I think we're going to just start off with the skills, and then I'll show you guys the gear. But Dizzying Swing, this is the only character I enjoy Dizzying Swing on. It's partially the reason why this is my favorite build of the patch. This is like the only class that Dizzying Swing still works on it. To me, anyway. It's the only class that feels like it still works. But I love Dizzying Swing. If you don't want to use this, feel free to use any other spammable here. You could look at, well, you can also switch this build to dual wield, by the way. I have done that too. So you use Rapid Strikes if you're running dual wield. You very easily could run Silver Shards if you want to run the Fighter's Guild spammable. Or you could run Crushing Weapon if you're proficient with this. I'm personally not, so I'm using Dizzying Swing. For the hybrid element, we are running Endless Fury. It seems dumb, I know. It seems dumb. But for any of the people who've played Sorcerer before Implosion got removed, this is that, but better. This does more damage than Implosion used to do. It's a pre-execute, and I literally had nothing else to put here. It works beautifully. I've already had great battlegrounds on this build where I went like 28-2. It's working really well. But Endless Fury is entertaining. It pays for itself if it detonates. There's not much else to say about the skill. It's just really hilarious. Bound Armaments is our next skill, and you need this as a Stamina Sorcerer. I gotta say, you need this. It gives way too much not to use now, because, unlike before, you actually activate the skill. It's amazing. It's actually amazing. You basically have your own version of Grim Focus now. It's fairly useful. Basically, what you do is you stack up to 4 daggers, and you unleash the little daggers, each dealing their own little speck of damage. Total together, they deal about as much damage as Grim Focus does. So, like I said, overall, it's pretty damn good. Next up is our second Execute on the build, and we are using Executioner. You can use either morph. I prefer Executioner. I like the single target damage more. But you could easily use Reverse Slice. And if you are running dual wield instead of two-hander, simply use Whirling Blades. There you go. So this build is a 1-for-1 trade with dual wield. It's actually really nice for that. Next up, we have Dark Deal. This is my main sustain source, as usual. To me, Stamina Sorcerer, like, you do not need much sustain. This is your sustain. It's beautiful. You just run. Dark Deal is perfect for this class. I love it. I wish other classes had access to something like this. Kill Me Now, Dawnbreaker Smiting. Honestly, this is the only ultimate I like for Sorcerer, and to say I like it, I don't like the cast time on it, but what else is there, you know? It's a good flashy ultimate. It gives you a surprise stun, good dot damage. You could easily run Onslaught here. I don't have it morphed, but you could run Onslaught here if you want to. If you really want to try something entertaining, Power Overload does work. I just don't like it. I don't like the way it plays. For the back bar, we have Hurricane. Not much to say here. Nice skill. Streak. Streak's really good, by the way. They did buff it a little bit. They decrease the cost it has every time you cast it a second time in a row. Damage scales off your highest offensive stat now. And on top of all that, they changed the way the stun works now. So it's not just like a line in front of you. It's a cone behind you. And that sounds kind of bad at first, but I've noticed it feels like it has a bigger area it affects now, except it narrows out in the front. So the really, really good escape tool now. It does a lot of, it stuns a lot of stuff. It's really nice. But overall, if you like Streak before, you like Streak now, not much has changed. Resolving Vigor, basically the go-to stamina heal. Not much to say here. Poison Injection, our third and final execute for the build. And yes, we're running 3 executes. It's glorious. You trust me. Just try it. Anyways, this skill got pretty neutered coming into this patch. It's still useful. It's not great. Honestly, it's there for the Master Bow proc. You could replace this with just about anything else if you don't want to run Master Bow. Crit Surge. This is our source of major sorcery and brutality, and it is important that you use this skill because you need both brutality and sorcery for this build. If you choose to run this as a stamina only variant and drop the hybrid element, then you can replace this with a brutality only skill or something along those lines. But honestly, who doesn't want Crit Surge? Look at the amount of heals it gives you. 3,600 for every critical damage you do, or every bit of critical damage you do. That's a lot of healing, okay? You crit a lot, especially with Hurricane. Back bar ultimate is entirely up to you. I use Temporal Guard for the 8% damage reduction. You can run Storm Atro so you can get the extra Daedric passives on the back bar. You can run other defensive ultimates. Hell, I've even debated running a Resto Staff back here and plugging the Resto ulti into this. You know, you can do that too. Literally any ultimate you want. You can also run Werewolf back here if you want to be a werewolf. But like I said, you can run anything you want on the back bar. The ultimates are very flexible in Stamina Sorcerer. It's one of the things I like about the class. I would run Negate back here if you're running in groups. Yeah. So skill section's over. This is gonna be a very short build video, guys. I'm sorry about that, but alright, so for gear, we have chosen Troll King, mostly to pair with Bewitched Sugar Skulls. Sorcerers get 20% more health recovery. Sugar Skulls gives you more health recovery. Troll King gives you more health recovery. You have a lot. When this procs, you have a lot. It's really nice. We are in all impenetrable, by the way, and we are in 5 medium, 2 heavy. Next up is Shackle Breaker. We are looking to push as much max stats as we can in both directions. It gives us stamina and magic recovery, stamina or weapon and spell damage, and max stam and max magicka. Shackle Breaker is perfect for this build. And the absolute best of this build, and actually my favorite addition, was thanks to a friend. We got New Moon Acolyte. I can't craft this by myself, so thank God that my friends were able to help me out here. But weapon crit, spell crit, weapon damage, spell damage, physical and spell penetration, and then weapon and spell damage. It's the perfect set for this build. It's perfect. You don't need Pelinals anymore. Basically just run a Stam Tune, but stack enough magicka and spell damage so you can start using some spell abilities, and you get some hilarious results. Last but not least is the Master Bow. I already said we have this, but to remind you guys, Infused, Berserker Glyph, yeah, Master Bow. It's a great tool. Gives you a lot of extra burst damage and literally costs you nothing. Front bar, we are running Nirnhone with Diseased. The glyph doesn't matter. Use whatever glyph you want. You could run poisons here. You can run anything you want here. Again, this build's very customizable, luckily. We are running 3 prismatics, apparently 1 health glyph, and 3 stam. I did not know there was a health glyph here. For jewelry, we are running all infused, 2 of which are weapon damage, and 1 of which is stamina recovery. I would recommend sticking to the weapon damage. If you wanted to start running more magicka skills, you could make a case to run a spell damage glyph here instead, but weapon damage buffs our heals more, and most of my damage sources are weapon damage, so this is the glyph layout I like. Works pretty good for me. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about this build. I mean, like I said, Lover's Stone, Werewolf, optional. Oh, Dark Elf. That is the last thing I wanted to go over was race with you guys. Your options are pretty much, if you want to maximize this build's damage, you have 2 options. Dark Elf or Kaji. Kaji, because you get the extra spell, or you get the extra crit damage, and you get the extra stamina and spell recovery, and mana recovery. For Dark Elf, it's because you get the extra max magic and stamina, and the extra weapon and spell damage. I think Dark Elf is going to come out ahead, especially for no CP, but if you intend to play this class in champion points, Kaji might pull ahead a little bit. Yeah, I think that's it to say, guys. I think that is all there is to say. Like I said, it's a fun build. I've been having a blast with it. I hope you guys do too. I will be posting some clips of gameplay in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys would like to see this live, or this build played live, I play it every Tuesday night after Guild PvP. The only exception is tonight of the day of recording, because I'm playing Halo Reach tonight after Guild PvP is over. Yeah. So, have a great one, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.